Hello YouTube. Yakutia or Sakha Republic is the largest division in the Russian Federation. Total area is 3,103,000 square kilometers, occupying 1/5 of all the territory of Russia. Permafrost of Yakutia keeps many mysteries, including the alien structures. Like those enigmatic radioactive cauldrons, I have described them and their impact on people who visited the area in my previous videos. Please see the playlist. I put it in the description to this video. As well as I've discussed this in my TV appearances, radio interviews, books and lectures. This is a continuous research and it pertains to Yakutia's paranormal phenomena in general too. My work is familiar to some people in Yakutia as well for decades. Let me add a few more words about that land so you understand the background. A significant portion of all the world's known unique finds of mammoths, woolly rhinoceros, bison, musk oxen, cave lions was found here. Yakutia, where the lowest temperature is minus 71 degrees Celsius, was registered. It is also the only place on Earth where people live and work in such cold temperatures. The summer is short but hot. Temperature can hit plus 40 degrees Celsius. Here one can see such a unique natural phenomenon as aurora borealis, northern lights. Here, beyond the polar or Arctic Circle, the night lasts all winter and the day all summer. Yakutia is famous for its rich natural resources. Famous diamond deposits are in western Yakutia. Gold deposits are in rivers Aldan, Indigirka, and Yana. More than 90% of diamonds and 40% of the gold are extracted in Yakutia. And Yakutia is a land of dense taiga, boreal forest, wilderness, and immense tundra zones. Hundreds of thousands of large and small rivers and lakes. Some of them contained quite interesting paranormal phenomena, and I've discussed them in my videos. Harsh mountain ranges and ice Arctic regions, untouched nature, very original culture, and fantastic folklore. Now, let me add something interesting to the Cauldrons story. The mystery of the Siberian platform is a detailed documentary and artistic narrative, a book about the history of the search and discovery of diamond deposits in Yakutia. Valery Osipov, who was sent to these fields as a correspondent for the Soviet newspaper Komsomolskaya Pravda many decades ago, did not limit himself to familiarizing himself with what he had already seen achieved. In an effort to get deeper into the life and work of geologists, he took part in field research as an employee of one of the usual geological expeditions. Therefore, Osipov found himself in the thick of all the events, aware of all the details of the diamond epoch. He managed not only to show the final results of this gigantic work, but also to cover the diverse and long-term research and search for diamond deposits, to give vivid and memorable pictures of the life of geologists. And in his book, there is this tale about very unusual objects. In the time of the Russian Empire, a certain merchant Tarelkin, with the aim of setting up a pencil factory for himself, personally embarked to Yakutia, to the Viluy River, in search of graphite deposits. The reason for this trip was a story that he had heard somewhere about the Viluysk graphite expedition, the official report of which is available in the bulletin of the Russian Imperial Geographical Society for the year 1856. When he got to Viluy, Tarelkin began to trade the furs with the Yakuts, people of Yakutia. in that area in order to make up for working capital. One day, sitting in the yurt of a hunter, Tarelkin noticed that among several river stones lying in front of the icon inside, one stands out with a strong shine. Obviously, Tarelkin once studied at a gymnasium school. That's how they refer to high school, let's say, and read newspapers, which at that time published a lot about the experiments of obtaining diamonds from graphite. Comparing the information he had about the Vilu's graphite expedition with the bright shine of the stone, the merchant came to the conclusion that he had chanced upon a diamond deposit. Carefully, so as not to reveal his guessing to the owner of the yurt, Tarelkin began to ask the Yakut about where he found such a funny stone. The hunter told the merchant that one summer, in a sunny weather, he was walking along the shore of Vilui and suddenly noticed a ray of light in the water coming from the bottom to the surface. Coming closer, the hunter saw that the beam was coming from a stone lying at the bottom. He took the stone out of the water. The beam went out. He lowered the stone into the water again, and the beam flashed again. Then the hunter decided to take this wonderful stone with him and show it to his wife. Since then, the stone has been lying in the yurt in front of the icon. The merchant traded the stone from the Yakut for a quarter bottle of vodka and a bag of flour. He became so convinced that he had discovered a diamond deposit that he immediately changed his plans for a pencil factory and went back to Irkutsk. That's a city in Siberia. In that city, he casually showed the stone to a familiar chemistry teacher, telling him that he had bought a diamond but doubted whether he had been deceived. The chemistry teacher showed the stone to some students, and they confirmed that it was indeed a diamond. All winter, without giving away his secret to anyone, the merchant was preparing a new expedition. He acted boldly and decisively, investing all his capital in equipment and exchange goods, alcohol, axes, nails, guns, cartridges, etc. With the onset of summer, Tarelkin again found himself on the banks of the Vilui and began to exchange shiny stones for imported goods. Having quickly lowered all the packs, meaning he got what he needed, the enterprising merchant set off on his way back. He was carrying several kilograms of shiny stones with him, which he estimated at 3 million rubles. In Irkutsk, Tarelkin chose two of the largest and most beautiful crystals and took them to a jeweler. When he heard the price the merchant was asking for his diamonds, the jeweler laughed and said that both stones were nothing but the most ordinary cobblestones. The frightened Tarelkin brought all his shiny stones to the jeweler and told him that he would take him in for half if he found at least one diamond among them. However, all the efforts of the interested jeweler were in vain. Not a single diamond was found. Heartbroken, ruined, and already half crazy, Tarelkin went to the river Angara, poured all his treasures into the water, and jumped after them himself into the river. Such is this story, and of course there are questions, and Tarelkin's zeal and quick decision-making resulting in suicide. But you see, Vilui is the area associated with the Cauldrons. The Cauldrons, those enigmatic alien structures, most of them at least, have been submerged underwater due to the local construction, but in the Soviet times. And it wasn't done intentionally to cover the cauldrons with the water. I guess, they needed to make a way for the electric power station construction. That's the official excuse. I doubt that this was done to flood the remnants of ancient civilization and bury it underwater. Anyway, you can find this story in my previous Yakutia videos. I have no doubts that there are other artifacts from incomprehensibly ancient but still active, at least as of 1908, technology embedded in the soil of Yakutia. It's possible the stones that emit lights discovered by the local hunter may be actually more than just cobblestones, and maybe also more than just diamonds. There is something else to all of this. The preface to the 1958 book was written by no other than Ivan Yefremov. Again, my playlist about this enigmatic person is attached. Description to this video. To be brief, this Russian scientist and author and philosopher and much more, whose powerful imagination and knowledge were unmatched, and maybe still are, he was suspected by the KGB, the secret police of the socialist state, to be an extraterrestrial. And all this started after his story Diamond Pipe, about the presence of diamonds in Siberia. He predicted accurately where to find them in 1944. And he aroused suspicions. Because, with all the negative facts about the KGB, they didn't have fools sitting there. They also had people with brains. Here's what Yefremov wrote about this, officially about the story. At the time of the war, the search for diamond tubes had not yet begun. But 11 years later, an old comrade from the Siberian campaign came to me and put 3 small diamond crystals extracted from a diamond tube in a Siberian platform. He put them on the desk, on the very desk where the diamond pipe was written. Of course, the KGB had more detailed information and suspicions about Yefremov and reasons to suspect him. But his interest to the Osipov's book's details reveals to me that if he was what the secret police suspected him to be, Yakutia and the search for the diamonds or strange stones there definitely attracted Yefremov's attention. And Yefremov operated well beyond Yakutia. Yefremov was born, by the way, in the significant year of 1908, the Tunguska event. This is when it took place. Or maybe he was found in 1908. You should read my research about his Mongolia dinosaur expeditions and the discovery, or rather rediscovery, of the grave of a mysterious giant there. But earlier in his life, Yefremov dedicated himself to be a field geologist. This allowed him the opportunity to explore areas where I suspect there may be other artifacts. Here is more from the preface to the book, and this will tell you a little bit more about Yefremov too. There are many cases like this in the practice of geological work. Every geologist has experienced and done the impossible at least once. We, the Siberian geologists of the 1930s, the majestic and difficult era of the beginning of the industrialization of the Soviet country, had to be in the role of discoverers more than anyone else. It was then that the white spots of Siberia, the Far East, Sakhalin, and Central Asia began to be rapidly erased. Our ocular surveys became the basis for the first maps of remote areas. We worked without any topographical basis, without even dreaming of aerial photography, without radio stations, far from any laboratories, in the depths of the taiga, swamps, and unknown mountains. We had to, like long-distance ships in the old days, interrupt all communication with the mainland for many months, knowing nothing about our loved ones, about events happening in the world, without the opportunity to call for help, get medicine or food. Therefore, we have learned to take the forces of nature seriously, to take strict responsibility to the small team of the expedition and to ourselves. We knew that it could take decades before researchers would set foot on our course again, and we must carry out our research in such a way as to take as many of its secrets from the unexplored land as possible, under all circumstances and under all obstacles. And it is joyful for us, who are now conducting our research in the quiet concentration of an office or laboratory, to learn that the dreams and ideals that we lived in the years of my youth continue to lead our younger generation along difficult roads of geological courses among the still defined taiga spaces and high altitude steeps. This is exactly the feeling that arises when reading Valery Osipov's book The Secret of the Siberian Platform. Written by a young journalist, it has a serious advantage: the narrator's youthful surprise at the strangeness and significance of what he learned and saw when faced with a previously unknown to him area of human labor. That's what Yefremov wrote in 1958. He passed away in 1972, by the way. I will continue my research of Yakutia's mysteries, its paranormal phenomena, as well as the legacy of Ivan Yefremov, whose books I read in my childhood and youth, and because of his writings I undertook field and other research in the USSR, and then later in Africa, in the Americas. I talked about him in Hong Kong, Brazil, the United States, and elsewhere. If I find a way, I will travel to Mongolia too. But today, I wanted to bring you this very interesting story of the merchant Tarelkin and those strange stones in the river. And I'll keep my eyes open and my mind open to other information from Yakutia, like I said. And if you like my research and videos and you can support me, please do so. To the links you will discover in the description to this video. Please kindly like my videos, please subscribe to my channel and tell others about my work. Thank you.